Okay. So how many ways you can handle exception in Java?
Um, we can use try catch block. So in catch block, we can handle exception. Then we can use throw keyword also to throw the exception. I mean any custom exception. Apart from that, we can also use throws keyword along with the method name. So basically, ultimately, this responsibility goes to the calling method. So this is another way. And in Spring Boot, we can use exception handler in the controller, and we can also use at the rate of controller advice for handling the exception globally in Spring Boot. So yeah, so these are the various ways we can handle exception.
Okay. So do you know response entity exception handler?
Yeah, actually it is used to handle a few common Spring exceptions, like method argument not valid exception, and HTTP request method not supported exception. So these kind of exceptions when we have to handle, then we use this annotation. So basically we can extend the class and override any specific method to customize the error response for built-in exceptions. So yeah.
Okay. And what is error controller? Do you know about this?
Yeah, error control also, I think it's an interface, not the class, and that we can implement along with the class where we want to use it. So I think we use it to handle errors globally, and we can return the custom error response. So yeah, so for that purpose we use this error controller.
Okay. So what is the difference between controller advice and rest controller advice?
Yeah, so these both annotations are used to handle exceptions globally, but for different situation we use this different annotation. So in RESTful applications, instead of add controller advice, we can use at the rate of REST controller advice. So I mean basically this at REST controller advice automatically applies the at the rate of response body. So we don't have to explicitly mention it. So it normally returns the JSON and XML, but if we want to use it the traditional way, then in traditional web applications like HTML and JSP, all that we want to return, right? So in that case, we can use at the rate of controller advice. Yeah, so this is the what is the main difference. So we don't have to explicitly mention at the rate of response body and all. So yeah.
Suppose the Spring Boot application needs to communicate with multiple external systems. So, how would you design a resilient and fault tolerant communication between them?
Yeah, so we can use Spring Cloud circuit breaker pattern with historics, or we can use resilience 4J to implement a circuit breaker pattern. So basically, we can give the fallback method on top of the method where we are giving, I mean, where we are trying to call the another microservice. So this fallback method will have the location of the next method, and apart from that, we can have a retry mechanism. So whenever the request is failed, then a certain number of times we do the retry before finally making it failed or going to some alternate solution. Then for asynchronous communication, we can use Spring Kafka or RabbitMQ for retry. And to handle transient failures, we can use I think back off with jitter. So that is one way. And to ensure idempotency, we can use UUIDs or versioning. We can also do the error handling in a centralized way. So we can integrate with Spring Boot Actuator and log aggregations tools like using ELK stack. So yeah, so these are the ways we can communicate between external systems.
Okay, so what is caching and why we use caching in Spring Boot?
Yeah, caching is used to store frequently accessed data, which is there in the temporary storage space. So suppose we have some data like which is not getting changed very often. Instead of hitting from database every time, we use the caching memory, and from there we can fetch the data instead of getting it from the database or even from the any external APIs. And this also increases the speed of the application, so the performance will be increased in that case, right? So also it will be, I mean, cost effective because every time we hit the database on the server, it might be deployed like in any of the cloud, so that actually ultimately costs us some money. But caching, we can get rid of those things, and the response time will be faster also, and also the resource utilization will be I mean better, like CPU and all. Yeah, so there will be no computation will be required, it will be just I mean just fetch the data. So we can use enable caching annotation in order to enable the caching mechanism. So in the Spring Boot application main class, so we can mention this annotation if we want to use caching. And we use at the rate of cacheable annotation to mark the method which return we want it should be cached. So we can use that. And again we have some annotations like cache put, cache evict. So yeah, so these are the I mean various points about the caching.
Okay, so which one you have used in your project?
Yeah, I have used cache.
Okay, okay, okay. So what is at the root of a Spring Boot application annotation?
Yeah, it's a combination of three another annotations. So it has at the rate of configuration, at the rate of enable auto configuration, and at the rate of component scan. So this component scan, basically it scans the package and all its sub packages, looking for classes that could be automatically registered as a bean in the Spring container. So in that specific path, whatever the classes will be there, they all will be like eligible to be registered as a part of bean into a Spring container. Then coming to uh, at configuration. So basically this is a class level annotation, and the class can be used by IOC container as a source of bean definition. So basically it configures the application, it loads server and all. And then coming to at the rate of enable auto configuration, so it auto configures the bean that are present in the class path. So basically in case of Maven project, for example, so whatever in pom.xml files we have, so it enables all the configuration that we have done in this file. So yeah, so this is what is this Spring Boot application.
Okay, so can you tell me what is the difference between Spring Boot configuration and only configuration?
I think a Spring Boot configuration is kind of more a specialized form of configuration. Mostly it is included within Spring Boot application, so we don't have to define it explicitly. I mean, in generally, main difference is like add configuration can be used in either in Spring or Spring Boot, both applications. But add Spring Boot configuration can only be used in Spring Boot applications only. Then uh, yeah, so I'm not able to, I mean, recall, I mean, any much differences between these two. Yeah.
Okay, okay, no problem. Okay, have you worked on actuator?
Yeah, I have worked on it.
So, what are the default endpoints of actuator?
Yeah, it's info and I think actuator itself.
Okay, so there are various endpoints of actuator, right? So, how can you secure any specific Spring Boot actuator endpoint? So, we want to secure only few of the endpoints. Rest of them I want to leave it publicly accessible. So, how can you achieve that?
Yeah, we can use Spring Security actually to restrict the access based on the roles and endpoints or other criteria. So yeah, we have some situations when suppose like info actuator info is there, so we want it to be publicly accessible, but we might not want like metrics or health to be visible by, I mean, or visible or publicly accessible. So we can go for a Spring Security. So for this first step is that we can add the dependency in pom.xml in case of we are using Maven project. Then we can have a class, and in that class we can extend web security configure adapter, and there are some annotations also we use like enable security, and then we have a overridden method here. So in that overridden method we can give the, I mean, access to the like uh, endpoints, whatever endpoints we want to give the access. So with ant matcher we can match, I mean, the path we can give, and we can give the permission to that. So we can also add the role in that, like ant matcher, and after that we have, I think, has role method in that. So in that we can give the role of the specific user, or I mean the role name we can give there, and only that role will have the access of that specific actuator endpoint, and the rest of them we can give like permit all, so this will allow it to be accessible to the public. So yeah, so this is how, I mean, we secure it.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so we have the annotations like add component and add repository, right? So, can we use add component instead of add repository? Can we replace with this?
No, we cannot replace with this. So repository we use in the at the DOA layer. So if we have to fetch the data or we have to communicate with database, so we use at the rate of repository.
Okay, but if I use at the rate of component instead of at the rate of repository, will it throw any error?
No, it will not throw any error, I think, because Add component is a kind of a generic stereotype annotation, and add repository is kind of a specialization of that add component. So it should not throw any error. So one problem we might face that whenever we are using add component, we might not see any persistence related exception. But if we use add repository, then we can be seeing those exceptions. Otherwise, yeah, it won't throw any error as such.
Okay, so which version of Java you have worked on?
I have worked on Java 7 and Java 8 mostly.
Okay. And what about the Spring version?
In Spring, I have worked on, I think, 3.2.
Okay. So each Spring 3.2 is compatible with Java 8?
No, no, it is not fully compatible with Java 8. I think Spring Framework version 4 is compatible with that.
Okay. Okay. So what are the features you are aware of in Java 8?
Yeah, I'm aware of functional interface, streams, and then method referencing, default static methods, Lambda, and optional datetime API. So yeah, so these are the features I'm aware of.
Okay. So what is functional interface?
Yeah, functional interface used as a reference to Lambda expression. So we have interface, and on top of that we use at rate of functional annotation. Then it makes that a specific interface as a functional interface. It can have only one abstract method, and it can have any number of static and default methods.
Okay. So what is this static and default methods?
Yeah, static means its definition in interface cannot be changed by class. So the class which is implementing it, so it cannot change the definition of it. So it cannot be overridden. So for the security reasons, this has been added, and the default has the dummy implementation already. So the classes which are implementing this, so they are not forced to override the default methods, but if they want to override it, they can override it. So yeah, so this is the basic difference between these two.
Okay. So what is diamond problem in functional interface?
Yeah, diamond problem is a situation when suppose we have two functional interfaces, and they contain the same default methods. If suppose any class is there which is implementing both of these interfaces, so in that case this diamond problem will happen, because we don't know which the default method should print the implementation of like functional interface first or functional interface second. So yeah, so this is the situation which we say the diamond problem, and this can be fixed by adding super keyword along with the interface. So we can say function interface one dot super dot whatever the method is there, so that we can give, so it will basically print that a specific method.
Okay. So what changes has been done with respect to datetime API in Java 8?
Yeah, so in Java 8 we have the datetime API from the joda.org and a package, but before that we had it from the java.time. So in Java 8 it is thread safe, but in Java 7 it was not thread safe. So in Java 8 if we want to use it, so we can just say like local date dot now, so it will take the current date or local time dot now. So earlier version used to give both, like date and time both it used to give. But now on demand, if we need only date or only time, only those we can get. So also the time zone, it was difficult to handle in case of earlier versions like in Java 7. But in Java 8, it is easy to handle the time zone. So yeah, so these are the differences.
Okay, okay. Okay, so what is the difference between collection and collections? Collection only and S in the end.
Yeah, collection is an interface. So it is from java.util.collection. So that is an interface, and collections is an utility class. So like sort and all, it has the methods. So in that case, we can use these collections.
Okay, so what is the difference between array list and linked list?
Yeah, array list is basically better when our aim is to retrieve the elements from the object. So it is good while we have retrieval, but linked list we can use when our main objective is to insert or delete. So like if we want to manipulate the list, so in that case we can use this. Array list basically, uh, whenever we want to do the random access, then also array list is good, but not in linked list. And array list uses internal data structure as dynamic array to store the elements, and linked list uses w linked list. One more difference is like array list can act as only list, and linked list can act as list or queue because it also implements dequeue. So yeah, so these are the differences between these two.
Okay, so what is the difference between iterator and list iterator?
Yeah, so iterator, so it was introduced in 1.2, and also like list iterator as well, it was introduced in 1.2. So the main difference is that iterator can be used with, iterator is universal iterator technique. So it moves only forward, it has only forward methods, but list iterator can be used for both forward and backward directions. So iterator we can like only read and remove using iterator, but using list iterator we can read, remove, replace, or any addition of new objects, that also we can do. So yeah, so iterator has very less number of methods, and list iterator has much more methods. Yeah, so these are the differences.
Okay, so what is the parent of all exceptions?
So yeah, throwable class is the parent of all.
Okay, can you explain the whole hierarchy of this exception?
Yeah, sure. So we have throwable class on the top, and then we have exception. So this exception can be either checked or unchecked exception. So checked exceptions are going to be checked at compile time, and unchecked exceptions happens at runtime. So like any editor, suppose Eclipse or IntelliJ we are using. So whenever we are writing the code, and if suppose um, like any file read or something we are doing, right? So if we are not handling the exception there, so compiler itself complains over there that okay, we need to handle that check exception, and we will not be able to run that program. So so compiler itself tells that okay, we have to handle that exception, and we can handle that. For example, we can say like file not found exception or IO exception. So all these falls under checked exception, and unchecked exception happens at runtime. So until unless we run the program, and we don't know, I mean, that runtime exception can happen or not. So it happens only after that. For example, if we say any number divided by 0, so it won't complain while doing the while writing the code, but once we run it, it it will throw the arithmetic exception. So that we need to handle. And also like other exceptions like array out of bound exception, null pointer exception, and concurrent modification exception. So all this happens at runtime. And we also have error. So error is kind of irrecoverable situation, so it cannot be recovered, it cannot be handled. Yeah, so like suppose in the system we are running the program and there is no memory in the system, or Java has not been assigned with enough memory. So in that case, it may give a stack overflow error or something like that, or out of memory error. So yeah, so this is what is the whole hierarchy of exception.
Okay, so what is GIT compiler?
Yeah, JIT compiler is part of JVM. So it is like whenever suppose any method, like we have a class and it has various methods, and any method is being executed again and again, then it is kept separately and converted to like machine codes. So yeah, so that is what I mean JIT compiler is used for.
Okay, so in SQL, what is the difference between delete, truncate, and drop commands?
Yeah, so if we have to delete the row, okay, so we can go for delete in that case. And suppose if we want to clean up the whole table itself, and in table suppose we have lots of many rows and we want to clean up everything in one go, so we can go for truncate. And drop means basically removing the table itself. So yeah, so this is what is the difference between these.
Okay, so can you tell me when we should go for to use where and when we should use having clause?
Yeah, so main difference is like whenever we have aggregation kind of query, um, so in that case we use having. Suppose we have some count, average, all these functions are there. So in that case, like we can use having. So for example, if we have to, uh, we have to display the average salary, and salary is greater than let's say some like 60,000 or something. So in that case, we will go for the having clause. So select a star, sorry, select average salary and from any table, and then we can say some group by or something, and then having average salary greater than that amount. So we can go with having in that case. And where we can use normally, like for example, if we have the table and simply if you want to just uh, show the like employees whose salary is greater than 60,000, so we can simply say select a star from employees where salary greater than 60,000. So in this situation we can use where. So where used to filter rows before any grouping or aggregation occurs in the query, while having used to filter groups of data after the group by clause has aggregated the data. So yeah, so this is the difference between these two.
Okay, what are the stored procedures and how they different from the functions in SQL?
Yeah, stored procedures perform actions and can return multiple result sets. While coming to functions, they return a single value and can be used in SQL expression. So mostly functions we use in the SQL expression, and a stored procedure we keep it like the whole query itself.